Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Hope you are doing well, and welcome to your match preview for Nottingham Forest versus Fulham FC, which is coming to you Friday night at 8 p.m. Guys, we will have the watch along as always, starting from 7:30 p.m. UK time. So make sure if you're not going to the match, you tune in with us and support the mighty Reds. Coming up in today's video, we are going to go through probably one of the hardest predicted teams I've ever had to put together, trying to get into the mind of Mr. Steve Cooper, because in him, of course, we do trust. But what are the changes that I think will be made following the disaster that was the Bournemouth match? We will go through that. We will also talk about Fulham, their tactics and their danger men, or man, should I say. And we will go through and have a look at what I think the predicted result will be towards the end of the video. So guys, couple of things I need from you. Firstly, as always, please do hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to get your own In Cooper We Trust t-shirt, the merch store is in the description. But more importantly, put in the comments below right now your score prediction for this match, Nottingham Forest versus Fulham. Let's get on with the video. Alrighty guys, let's get into it. We're going to do it slightly different today. I'm going to do what I would like predicted and the formation I would like, and then I'll jump into what I think Cooper's going to do. I think it's going to be a bit night and day in comparison. So let's jump over to the full screen and I'll talk you through. This would be with subject to fitness, who we've currently got who are fit. This would be the team I would like to start with. And I've gone for a 4-2-3-1 with a little bit of playing about in terms of how straight the lines are. So I want Bolly. Shout out to Kay, who mentioned it in the live stream yesterday. Bolly, this is the game for him to mark out Mitrovic. Take Mitrovic out of the Fulham team. That's it. Game over. Fulham are hamstrung. So Bolly, physical, strong, not the paciest. However, nor is Mitrovic. That's why I think this will work out well. We've also got Bidet in the team for me, dropping Worrell, putting him in. I don't mind Biancone coming in for a run out, so either Bidet or Biancone in that position. And then Williams and Lodi are picking themselves. For me, the hardest one to pick, excuse me, was between Mangala and O'Brien, because I really want Freuler to get a run out of this game. I want to see, we haven't got a midfielder who can sit deep, move forward, and pass the ball progressively like he can. So I want him to have a run in the game. So begrudgingly, I've dropped O'Brien to bring Mangala back into the team, because yes, I'm a little superstitious. The last time we scored a point in the Premier League, he was on the pitch. Then going forward, I love the look of this front four. Gibbs White in the hole, Jono out wide in the position he should be in. Dennis, the menace, out on the left-hand side, bringing pace. With Dennis and Johnson in those two positions, you're going to stretch the back line so wide, which is going to free up space for Gibbs White to move forward into the gaps. And of course then Iwoni, he's going to be holding on to the edge of whoever their defender is. Well, I can't remember his name. He's not strong. We'll go through him in a minute. Iwoni would be physical and take him out the game as well. That then allows Freuler and Mangala to play a higher up the pitch. And because Bidet has pace, yes, I said the word pace, it allows us to play a higher line in this system. Bolly, not the fastest, could cause us issues if we do go to play for a higher line. But long term, for me, that would be Niakate, and that would be my team, man. That would be my team. You switch Bolly out for my boy Musa once he's back and fit. Guys, argue that team with me. I'm just staring at it thinking you can't argue it. The only one I'll give you is Freuler and O'Brien and Mangala. That's the little mess that we have to agree with. But outside of that, come on, guys. Come on. Who are you replacing out of that? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, let's get realistic and go to what I think Steve Cooper is going to do. So, in 2 seconds, you will see it on your screen. Alrighty then, so this is what I think Cooper will go with. And let me talk you through a few things. Now, I think I'm going to be wrong on one or two of them. But I can't see Worrell being dropped, or I'm not sure about Lingard. I personally drop him, but I don't know if Cooper's got the kahunas on the Lingard scenario to drop him. So I've dropped him for now, thinking that, you know, in Cooper we do trust. The formation is not going to change. I will eat my left toenail if Cooper changes from the 3-5-2. And I think the back three will be made up of McKenna, Worrell, and Bolly. The one that I'm certain he's dropping is Cook. There is no way in hell Cook can start this game. If Cook starts this game, I don't know what I'll do. Put in the comments what you'd like me to do if Cook starts this game. Now, moving forward, Loddy Williams, it is a pick. There's no controversy, no issues about that. I think he's going to go back to the tried and tested Mangala O'Brien, who played against West Ham, played against Everton, and this was the two in the middle that were dominating. I think he goes for that. Now, a lot of you guys want to see a 3 across the middle with Freuler added in there. I'm not against that either. But again, you got to remember Cooper loves this formation. It's very, very unlikely he's going to change it. If he does, I'm going to have a smile from ear to ear. But I just don't see it. I think he will change the personnel, test that out. If that doesn't work, then maybe he's going to look at formation. In the number 10, we may see Gibbs White drop to accommodate for Lingard. Yes, I know, crazy. Or probably, more likely, is he still going to drop Uoni and bring Lingard in that position and then potentially play with the false 9. This is as close as I can get it. Now, I don't mind this team because the midfield looks more balanced. If it was a Mangala, O'Brien, Gibbs in that triangle in the midfield, I'm okay with it. I will live with Worrell still being in the team. I've got no problem with McKenna. Yes, there's the odd mistake in him. But Bolly, for me, has to start over Cook. If he does not, Mitrovic is going to have a field day against Cook. If I was Mitrovic and I saw Cook on the pitch, I'd either get handcuffs out or I'd hold his hand the whole match because I'm attaching myself to him for the whole 90 minutes. This has to work. This game is now huge. And I'm going to go as far as to say must win. Not must draw, not must win. Why? Because we are already behind on the points we should be on. As I mentioned in a video earlier this week, we really should be on 9 points. With mistakes, we've thrown away 5 points. So this is must win just to get us to 7, which is still behind the tally we should have been. For me, imagine winning this game and the 9 we already had. That would put us on, let me do some quick maths for you, 12. Yeah, 12 points. What a position to be in. Fun fact for you guys, no team after 6 games who was on 8 points ever has been relegated from the Premier League. Forest would have been on 9. Forest are now on 4 points. You do the maths on that one. Anyway, so the contentious positions where I think I may be wrong is Uoni. Maybe we see Dennis there. Maybe. I would probably actually start Dennis because their defense is quite slow and Dennis has the pace and could attack them. But I want Uoni. My heart's saying Uoni needs a couple of games run in the team. The rest of the team I'm okay with in this formation. Look, because of the formation we're playing, that's why I've put these players in. I would be changing the personnel a little bit had he gone for a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. Those are the two formations I would like to see. Let me know your opinions down below. But guys, this game is huge, so do not miss it. If you're not there, make sure you're with us on the watch along on Friday, and I'll talk you through it kick by kick as always. Okay, let's go and have a quick look at the Mitrovic team. Sorry, I mean the Fulham team, and we'll have a quick discussion about them. So let's start running you through this Fulham team so you guys get a better idea of what we are coming up against. So they've already got a new keeper in here in Bert Leno from Arsenal. A lot of you will probably already know him. I actually quite highly rate him. I think he's not done a bad job at all at Arsenal or how he started at Fulham. Then they usually play in a 4-2-3-1 or they can sometimes switch it into a 4-3-3. They've got their 2 centre-backs. Ream here, who's very slow, is the one I would like to see us targeting on Friday. I think if we can get Uoni against him, we're in for a good shout there as well. Their other centre-back, who's Adara Bukayo, I can't even pronounce it, is there as well. And then you got TT, and you got Robinson. Now, Robinson went off injured against the Spurs game. And what happened, and Babu came on, the Swiss international. He's a right back, but they have no cover at left back outside of Robinson. So keep an eye out on Robinson. If he doesn't start and you see Mbabu in the team sheet right here in this left back position, which is nicely hidden by my head there. I'll move him forward a little for you guys. If Mbabu starts on the left-hand side, although Mbabu I do rate, but he's right-sided and he's in his 30s. It's not his position. And when he came on against Spurs, he did really, really struggle. So it'll be interesting to see on that front. So keep an eye out on that. So that's their back four. Now, in midfield, Palhinha, I think, is a very, very good player. Very solid, but very dirty as well. I think he's already one card off picking up a suspension. So I think, whatever, he had 6 games, 4 yellow cards already. That's impressive. He's going to be robust, breaker of the game. And this is where the battle against, which we'll come on to, between him, O'Brien and Mangala, depending if that's who's starting. That's where it's going to be interesting. Then you got Reed playing alongside him. And then the reject from Man U, Pereira, he suddenly turned himself into Maradona. He was lost in the goddamn wilderness of South American football. I laughed when I found out I think they paid 15 million for him. Suddenly he's found his playing boots. But there's always the Man U Pereira to come out at some point. Hopefully it will be this Friday. Then what you got here, this is where it's going to get interesting. You got Reed, who plays on the right wing, and then you've got Cabana, who plays on the left. But they've also just bought Daniel James, who's pretty useless in my opinion. As I was saying on the stream yesterday, he's got a lot of pace, but no end product. It's a bit like Forrest Gump. He just keeps running. He keeps running and running. And now that I've said that, he's probably going to go and score. But I'm sure most of you will agree with me. Otherwise, he wouldn't have club jumped as much as he did. He's just a pace merchant, and that's all. However, a pace merchant, if we play Cook, Worrell, and McKenna at the back, could be very, very dangerous. But we'll come back to that. And then finally, you got Mitrovic. Look, he needs no introduction. I was hoping he'd flop in the Premier League. Even I, who hate Fulham, have to admit he started okay. He's exceeded the expectations of what I thought he would do in the Premier League. He's on a 4-game goal streak, I think. So it should hopefully end this Friday. But what I've got to say about Fulham, and I'm going to be, put joking aside for a minute. They've impressed me, and I hate to say it. They've impressed me with the way they've attacked the Premier League. What you tend to find if we jump onto the pitch is that you've got this front three pressing and Pereira as well. And they're really, really good at winning the ball high up in the opponent's half. They did it well against Liverpool. They didn't show Liverpool any respect in that first opening game. They were straight in at them, and I was very impressed by them. So they were really choking them down, forcing the turnover high up in the opponent's half. If that happens to Forest, we're in trouble, because with Worrell, with Cook if he plays, with McKenna, they can't play out very well from their own back. And what could end up happening is we keep losing the ball high up the pitch here, and it's just going to force Mangala and O'Brien to play even deeper, causing the usual big disconnect that we've been seeing between the midfield and the attack, because we end up deep in our own half, or losing the ball, or making stupid mistakes. So keep an eye out for that one. Overall, this Fulham team is going to be dangerous. This Fulham team is probably the game I'm more scared of this game than I was of the Man City game. I know we got tonked by Man City, but this Fulham team is going to be hungry. Remember, we slapped them at their own home last season, so they're going to want to be out for revenge. But at the same time, that works in our favour because we're in their heads and we know we can beat them. And that was with Zinchenko and Cooper getting the assist from the throw-in, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure it was that match. Someone correct me if I'm wrong down below. So this, I don't want it to be a championship match like we saw against Bournemouth. I want to see some Premier League pedigree. So let's get into the battles and where I think this game can be won and lost for Forest. Okay, so this game's going to be won and lost in one of 3 areas, I feel. I'm going to start with the midfield battle. And like I was saying, Palhinha for me is the one we need to take out the game. He controls and he dictates the pace and the height of the position of the Fulham team. We have to get in on him and crunch him off the bat. I want to see O'Brien, if O'Brien's playing, right on him like a little terrier just snapping at his heels, making sure he doesn't get time on the ball. And then Mangala there as well, assisting him. These two work very, very well together in a midfield too. So that's why I still think that this will be the two and Freuler will be on the bench. Now, if they can control that midfield, you almost take Pereira out of the game. Look, he's had a good start to the season, but I still see the image of Pereira at Manchester United and passing the ball to no one and just falling over and being atrocious. I'm hoping the real Pereira steps up and turns up Friday night. So hopefully we should see him becoming useless, null and void in the game. That's the midfield battle. The scary battle for me is going to be the wing battles, because if we've got Lodi, who we all know loves to attack, and then you got Nico Williams attacking down the other ring as well, you're going to leave this huge space in behind them where McKenna's going to have to come out. You're going to have Worrell coming out here to cover the wingers. And now we're talking about pace. Look, if Dan James does come out, as crap as I think he is, he's got the pace to get in behind McKenna if he plays down the right-hand side. Look, if I was in charge of Fulham, I'd be playing him down the left and just targeting Worrell even more, because Worrell can't deal with pace. So potentially what you're going to find is they may invert him, play him out on the left, and get him in behind Worrell. And naturally, that's going to have to force Nico Williams to sit deeper. If Nico Williams is sitting deeper, that then pushes our midfield deeper, because we're not outnumbering them in the midfield. And then you're going to have to force Lodi back as well. And then suddenly we're on the defensive foot. But just taking that aside, because there will be times where we do get caught out with Williams and Lodi forward. And what you're going to have here is a scenario where Mitrovic is one-on-one against Bolly. Now, is Bolly going to be match sharp enough and match fit enough to handle Mitrovic, who seems to have added an extra star in his skill move suddenly and is able to finesse the ball and not just header it? The other key to it is Fulham are going to try and overload their fullbacks. Because of Mitrovic, because they are a one-man team, one of the ways they supply a lot of goals to him is through crossing. Now, one thing we are blessed with, even between these three, is height. And if you're going to bring Bolly in, you're adding extra height into that centre-back area as well. So Bolly is going to literally have to hold hands with Mitrovic the whole match, not lose him. He's really good at finding a yard from crosses coming in. And Fulham aren't the worst crossing team either. It's something I would like to see Forest doing more of, but obviously we need to play with the number 9 for that to happen. So be wary of those overloads happening, both down the left and right-hand channel, where Lodi or Williams has been caught up high off the ball, or the ball's been turned over and forcing us back. And then you're going to see Mitrovic here. Now, he's probably going to attach himself to either McKenna or to Worrell to try and get a height advantage, or Cook. Oh my God, if Cook plays. If Cook's there, he's attaching himself to Cook. But I see him trying to peel away from Bolly, because Bolly has that extra height on the other two, if I'm not mistaken. So just watch out for that happening as well. A lot of dangerous things can happen from the Fulham attack, so we do need to be very careful. The pace comes from the width, the accuracy comes from the crosses, and the headers come from Mitrovic. He's not one to really knock it down for a Pereira to come in on and smash at the edge of the box. He's always, what we know about Mitrovic, yes, he does score a lot of goals, but he doesn't assist as many as he could, although he has had a couple of assists this season. So be wary of that. And he's very physical in the box. And I really hope we can go a game at the City Ground without a penalty being given away. There is potential for that to happen yet again with Mitrovic playing. So be wary of that. All right, let's now flip it around and talk about how Forest can win this game. In essence, what we're going to need to see here is the reverse happening with Forest that I just talked about with Fulham. The midfield battle has to be won. That's objective number 1. Mangala and O'Brien need to have control of that midfield. If they can do that and bring the likes of MG Dub into the game, then suddenly he can start, and we can start, should I say, with Forest, to get the overlaps in with our fullbacks pushing back their wingbacks as well as their right wingers, etc. Because Dan James does actually track back quite well. This is assuming he's going to start. Now, we can either get the ball out wide to Lodi. If we are playing in Awoni, he's not bad in the air. He's just never been given the supply. Williams does need to do the same on this side, but he's got to sharpen up his crossing. The first games and in pre-season, I was very impressed with his crossing, and it seems to have been going off the boil in the last 2 or so matches for me. So hopefully he's been on that training ground and really practicing. The problem still is, even if we are crossing, there is only one real target man in there. And yes, Awoni is okay in the air, but he's not a Mitrovic in the air. But there's no one else with height who can support him. So yes, I want to see crosses coming in, but I don't want to see him spammed in, because logically speaking, the percentages won't work in our favour. Where we will get joy is against Ream, who's a terrible centre-back. You know, I probably wouldn't even swap Worrell with him. I would make sure that we're targeting his side, be it usually he's on the left-hand side with the pace of Brennan Johnson in behind him. Brennan Johnson has to play wide. He can't play central. Brennan Johnson here needs to stretch this gap. I've said this in so many previous match previews that this is the key to Forest's success, is that formation of the relationship between Nico Williams and Brennan Johnson down this right-hand side. That's why I don't really like this formation too much if he is being told to play more centrally, because he needs to be pulling that centre-back out wide to allow the gap for Morgan Gibbs-White to start to operate in. Look, if Jesse Lingard does get dropped, it will free up Morgan Gibbs-White as well to operate in all this space as the 10, and then use the likes of Mangala and O'Brien as that shield and the force that's going to get him to get the ball higher up the pitch. So it's going to be interesting to see the team line up. My biggest way I think Forest win is down this right-hand channel, targeting Ream. If they can attack him, especially if Mbabu is playing instead of Robinson, this channel is very weak suddenly. Mbabu will, if he gets forward down this side, he has to invert to cross the ball in. That's going to be an issue for him, and Nico Williams will see it coming a mile off. Also, Worrell will be able to handle Mbabu. He's older than him. He's not the slowest Mbabu, but Worrell should be able to handle him, especially if he's inverting, like I said, to cut in and cross. So just keep an eye out for that one. But other than that, if he gets caught up this side of the pitch, we can get Nico Williams in behind with Brennan Johnson attacking Ream. This is Forest's best chance. But I see this as being a tough and ugly game. Honestly, I do. It's one I'm worried about. It's one I'm worried about. Do I think Forest will win? Yes. Yes, I do. And I say it confidently. Look, we have to come out and have a reaction post the Bournemouth game. We have to go out and win this game. There's no two ways about it. Cooper needs to learn from the mistakes he's made. There's a few things I just want to address that I've spoken about before, but they need reiterating. He cannot play the likes of Cook and Worrell and all the favourite and bringing Cole back on as a substitute. I mean, what the hell was that? He cannot do that. He has to start with his strongest 11. And I would like to see that formation I showed you earlier, the 4-2-3-1, with those players lining up. I don't see it happening. The next thing he needs to do is get smarter with his substitutions. He has said so many times in interview, 5 subs is a game changer this year. Yet he's not reacting until about the 60th or 70th minute. We saw it against Bournemouth. The momentum was shifting and he didn't move from his plan and he stuck to it. He could have made 2 changes at half-time and still had 3 subs to tinker with later on in the match. He needs to be more reactive rather than proactive on the moves he's making with the substitutions. And finally, the home crowd need to be on side. We can't have a reaction like we did against Bournemouth. The crowd can't be flat. It's going to be under the lights. That's the City ground. We haven't seen football for what feels like 10 years at the moment between the Bournemouth match and this. So it's going to be, I think the crowd is going to be pumped up for it. So what do I think the score will be? I'm going to go for a tight one here and I'm going to go 2-1 to Forest. I think it's, like I said, going to be ugly, scrappy, but Forest have to click. And I think Cooper will have them fired up and ready to go for this match. And with this man back in the team, Mangala, do not underestimate how good he is. As long as he can survive at least 70 minutes, Forest are in with a shouting chance, because he will pick that ball up deep from Henderson or the centre-backs and push us up the field with it. He's not afraid to do it. And link him up with an O'Brien or a Freuler, and there's a recipe for success right there. But my score prediction isn't important because, as you know, I'll always predict Forest to win. Let me know your score predictions down below. And do you think Forest will bag 3 points on Friday? A much needed 3 points. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. If you have, please do hit that like button before you do leave, as we'll wrap it up here for now. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you're doing any shopping on Amazon tonight, please don't forget to go check out the offers that we found for you on Amazon. All the links you need are in the description below. And go check out the merch store, because in Cooper we do trust, as well as all the other players that we have in there. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on tomorrow's video. Come on, you Reds.